Good morning. Oh yeah. I'm Victoria Pendragon. Welcome to my alternate reality, which has been very alternate for about the last week or so. Not entirely sure what's going on, but I feel as if I'm living between two dimensions at the same time. And maybe what I'm going to tell you about today was a lead up to this. Life is becoming exceedingly interesting. Back in the 80s, before I got scleroderma, I think, I had a couple of dreams that were so compelling that I remember them to this day as though they had just happened. That's certainly not the case with all of my dreams. Generally speaking, once I attain full consciousness, I don't remember anything. If I want to remember a dream, as a rule, I have to write it down right away. Unless it's one of these super spectacular ones, and I have been having a lot of them in the last couple of weeks for whatever reason. And they reminded me of these two, which are dreams I had back in the 80s and which have come true, I suddenly realized. One of them came true, has been coming true, I guess I should say, for a couple of years now, and the other one just happened. So the first one was a dream in which I was in a big, open, spacious area, just like the room I'm in now. It was filled with light. I was working on a rolling butcher block table, which is what I do now. And I was working on type. But I was painting. It was like a graphic thing I was doing, and it was type. And as I was working, paint colors were oozing up through the type, and it was becoming words and color. And I realized the other day when I was working on a piece that was not quite as colorful, but with words and paint, that about, I guess, maybe 2.5 years ago or so, I did a whole series of paintings that are type and color. I invented an alphabet, Pendragon dyslexic bold, and I created a whole series of paintings that are phrases or sentences that are basically just color. They give a hint of being type, which is what had happened to the words that I had been working on in that dream. And I was sitting here on the couch the other night with my husband, and I thought, oh my heavens, that happened. And about 2 days later, I was here in this area of our great room, and I was doing my yoga in the morning, and this faces east over here and southeast. And so the sun is generally coming up here, which is why I like to do yoga here. And I looked up, and the sun was rising. No surprise, it always does. But it also appeared to be rising over in the farther southeast. So this is spring now, and it was closer to the east. But there it was, and it was vivid. I mean, it literally looked like it was rising in the other window. I took photographs, which if I showed you here wouldn't make any difference. You couldn't see it. But it looks for all the world as though the sun is rising in two places. The room is round, but it's a big room. So it's not a tight circle. It's a rather large one. And somehow the sun was reflecting itself onto the other window, which is double-paned glass, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it. And because you can see through the glass, you see a completely different landscape outside the window So it appeared that the sun was rising in the woods over there, while it was actually rising over the mountain here. It was one of the oddest things. And back in the 80s, I had had a dream in which I was waking up, and it takes me a while to wake up, like 45 minutes, which is why I do my yoga in the morning. And in the dream that I had in the 80s, I lived in a place where two suns rose every morning, and I saw them. It's just been strange lately, because these two dreams came true in my life. But how many years later? Let's see, late 80s, late 90s. 20 years, I guess, ish. And it's not that I take this stuff for granted, obviously. It's a little startling every time it happens. And in the past week, amazing things have happened that are strange and, for me, evolutionary in my development as a human being. I'll go into that on another chapter of this, I think, and not here because it's lengthy also. I strongly suspect that the exceedingly high energy of people right now around all of the changes that the newly established, or maybe not so established, president is making, which has everyone in an uproar, may be stimulating a lot of movement in general, psychic movement. I don't mean psychic, but just psychological stuff, especially for people like myself who've had a background of a lot of trauma and or abuse, because these are rather abusive times. People are being nasty, and there's a vibe. You can feel it. It isn't confined to the person who does it or the person they do it to. That goes out, that amplifies. And I think for someone like myself who's involved consciously in evolving, and for anyone like me who's evolved consciously in their own personal evolution, this energy can be a catalyst. And I do believe that's what's going on right now. So that was more than I was going to say, but thank you for watching. I love that you do. And take care of yourself. If you are one of those people who is in the process of evolution, you can know that things may be weird. Just know that. I got two suns coming up in the morning here in West Virginia. Bye.